Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton Geoffrey here with Adam Ross as we meet up with everyone here on Tuesday nights at our noon time for the last week or so, or 8 p.m. now.
Week
Yeah,
or so or three.
I'm thinking how long we've been on 8 o'clock, but we've done so many broadcasts, Adam, in the past few weeks that they all kind of blur together. I kind of had this deja vu problem with the CTMP races this past week because we started racing a week ago Saturday, so like 10 days ago, and then we started we called the race on Wednesday for TSN, and then we did a bunch more races Sunday morning, and then the TSN broadcast came on, and then we did the final. It was just I was blurred
It,
with all the same guys at the track 4 times.
it gets strange because almost everything we do is live. So when you do something that's a voiceover of something recorded and then you get to watch it 4 days later, in the meantime, you're doing all these other live events. You almost forget what happened on the one that you recorded. So you get to watch it all over again for the first time on TSN, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, we'll touch up on the CRS events coming up, how the last weeks were, how everything's been going with that. We're super happy with that. But the big news here in Ontario, and well, there's some different news going across the state line there in New York. But we got Mark Rinaldi with us again this week. For those of you who have been weekly and regular viewers of this show and maybe our Friday night excitement stuff, Mark's been on. Same thing, Mark. We're getting deja vu with you. We're seeing the same picture and the same things, but at least we have positive things to talk about now, Mark. It seems like the ticker's going in the right side of where it needs to be. So not a lot of new news, but I think the biggest news this week was that the government acknowledged, since we were last year on this program, the government acknowledged that auto racing and motorcycle racing could get back to business in certain ways. Now, I squarely put that on your work and all the promoters who got together, because, like we said before, we were never even on the radar, I don't think. And if that hadn't come together with all these 35 businesses now that it's up to, and probably even more now, I don't think we'd be where we are. So your reflection on the last week and the progress that's been made with the Ontario government as far as racing goes here in our province.
Yeah, we were when we spoke last week at this time. We were hopeful. We knew some announcements were going to be coming down late last week in regards to opening up some of the province and seeing what they had. I wasn't really expecting us to be mentioned, to be honest with you, because I think all the politicians that we talk to on a daily basis and try to get information, nobody wants to commit to anything until the actual word comes out, just because they don't know, things are changing so quick. Even themselves, sometimes they tell people things are going to happen, and then it doesn't, or vice versa. Something's not going to happen, and all of a sudden an announcement comes out to the contrary, right? So I'd say that yeah, when the announcement came out on Thursday, I was surprised and happy. I think all the promoters were. Clint, you were copied on a lot of the emails. There were some pretty excited people that were moving in the right direction, and we, took. Nobody jumped the gun. We took Friday to sort of evaluate and talk to some more people, and come Friday, I guess around 1 or 2 o'clock, I'd had enough confidence from all the people that I talked to that said, yeah, we can at least get to the track, go practicing. Some tracks are planning on hosting events, whether it be mock races or racing with no fans, which is allowed. A lot of the drag strips and road courses will likely do something of that nature. So yeah, it's good news. We're moving in the right direction, and we heard promising news going forward. But everything's going to depend on what happens in the next few weeks here. If people keep working hard and the numbers continue to drop, then chances of us getting back to racing with fans in the stands are much better than if they go the other way.
Mark, what's the next steps? Obviously, you can open the facilities, but like you said, you want to act, but you don't want to act too quickly.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, my phone's deep in here, but I think the everybody, and that was, like I said, on Friday there was sort of, Thursday there was sort of cautious optimism. My message has been, and I've been on promoted with a bunch of promoters all weekend and even again today, is we need to act responsible here. If, we put a set of guidelines in front of the province. They were obviously impressed by it enough that they gave us the responsibility of opening up to within those guidelines. So we need to make sure that we act responsibly and stay within those guidelines. So that's been my message to all the promoters. We keep trying to stress that, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, not to do anything too outrageous. If you're going to put on a practice event, it has to be a practice event you can manage responsibly. And same with like a Full Throttle Spear host a mock race event, just with their drivers and crews that show up. And they put Gordy's put a lot of thought and a lot of plans into it, and from everything he told me, he's gonna be within those guidelines. So he's not doing anything that we can't do. So we're in a good place now, and promoters just need to remember that, because if we don't stick within the guidelines that we set in front of them, then who's to say that they're going to trust us putting anything else in front of them in the future, which will be the next step, is to put a plan in place to have races with fans again.
Mark, that's obviously the next question. As soon as we get the one answer, we obviously want the next question, and that's been the speculation all along. First off, would there be a season at all? The feeling amongst the rumors and whatever else. What's the feeling? We are going to be able to get fans back this summer. Is that the impression you're getting? Obviously, you can't say
I'm full. Yeah, I know, I don't know anything more official than you guys. I've talked to a number of people, a number of politicians, and everyone I talk to feels confident that we should be able to get to a point where we're racing with fans. It may have some restrictions on it at start, but the problem is like I said, if in the next 2 weeks the numbers start to spike the other way and start to rise back up with the cases in Ontario, then I think we got a lot harder uphill battle than if we continue on the trends that we've been seeing and try to get those numbers lower and lower. I mean, we still need everybody to do their part, stay at home as much as possible, be as responsible as possible. When we put these events on, stay within the guidelines that your track sets out for you, so that if a health inspector or the Ministry of Labor shows up, that we're not breaking any rules or going outside the guidelines that we had set for ourselves. And then I think we're going to have a lot better of racing in front of fans. And I think the politicians are telling me that they don't want us shut down. They want us to be able to open up. They want us to be able to make money. But it's all going to depend on what the health experts tell the government to do, and those they base their decisions on numbers, right? That's going to be the driving factor. But yeah, we want to race, and the politicians want us to race too. So they don't want us. They don't want us to struggle. They want everybody to thrive, not just us. So if there's something that makes sense, they're going to let us do it.
Adam, you got anything for Mark before we let him move?
No, not so much. Just good to see you again. Keep up the great work, and I know you put a lot of time into this, so enjoy the fruits of your labor. I hope it gets us all back to the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I talked to Clint about this, and I mentioned the other night. I know I'm the one that's been on your guys' program, and I've been on a few other shows, but it's really been a good teamwork and a good effort from a lot of the promoters. 37 strong now, so it's good to see people working together, and hopefully, we can keep the momentum going our way. And I'd like to be on here next time talking about when we had our first race.
Mark, quickly there, what is the Brighton plan while we got you here? I know I'll talk about where Oshweken's position is. We're not going to do anything without fans yet. But quickly, what's the Brighton plan for your racers?
We're going
short term.
We're going to open up for practice. We're going to open up for practice this weekend, and we've set it up into, we're doing 3 sessions: a morning session Saturday, an afternoon session Saturday, and an afternoon session on Sunday. We're limited to 20 cars. We think that's a manageable number for us. Everybody will be socially distanced properly, and we've got a pretty stringent set of guidelines. Um, After we'll see how this weekend goes, and then we're going to look at possibly maybe doing a go-kart practice, which is harder because you're in a much smaller area with smaller teams and with kids running around. So we're going to look at that, see how the logistics will work out, and we're going to then we'll probably hold some more practices next weekend as well for the big cars, um, and just continue to let guys test and try to get better. On dirt, we have the advantage that we don't burn up a lot of equipment and don't burn up a lot of tires practicing. So, I've been saying it to everybody. If you're not Charlie Sandercock or Andrew Hennessy or Doug Anderson or Justin Ramsey, then an advantage of every one of these practices to try and be the next guy to beat them and push them to to the edges of their limits. So we've got the advantage of practice right now. Let's use it. It's obviously we'd like to be racing, but let's make the best of a bad situation.
Thanks, Mark, for
Well
joining with
said,
us.
Mark.
We really appreciate all the work you've done on behalf of all the promoters here in Ontario. And I know you don't love taking the credit, but great job between you and some of the leaders here in our industry. We really appreciate it. And I know you had a lot of help with everybody working together. And it's just cool to see that, in a time when everybody figures we should be battling for business, we're all working together. So thank you, Mark, for your time. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Adam, always cool when everybody can get together and do their deal. I'm trying to send Dave Bittner his link here, and we'll get that for him in a minute. But awesome to see everybody getting together and doing their deal, right? So for the government to come around, acknowledge racing, I think that's a huge win for our sport, and we'll keep pushing down that lines. Now, what we can do as racers ourselves, employees, track folks, and not the fans yet because they're still on the outside looking in, is like Mark said, do the right thing, be prepared, bring your mask, bring your sanitizer, read the guidelines over, and let's keep progressing in the right direction along those lines. Switching gears a bit, Adam. NASCAR got back to work this weekend, and Kevin Harvick won the big race on Sunday. Um, Quite a bit of an interesting scene there. No fans there. Definitely a deafening silence, if you will, of lack of fan input there. But still great to see the cars on track. Your thoughts on what happened Sunday with Darlington and Matt Weaver may be joining us, but I know he's busy at the actual speedway tonight, getting ready for the Xfinity race under rain delay. So if Matt joins us, we'll jump him in here quickly. But your thoughts on the weekend.
I always have the dumbest observations, Clinton, but I shouldn't say the dumbest, but they're a little out there. I think NASCAR should be commended because I doubt any professional sports organization has ever been under a closer microscope than they were on Sunday. And I don't mean from the government, I don't mean from lawmakers or law enforcers. I mean every other professional sports league watching what they did, watching how they conducted themselves, how they handled humanity and people and spacing and distancing and all the things that need to be done to get that show on. On a personal note, I picked Jimmy Johnson to win that race. So at the end of stage one, I was a little bit heartbroken to watch him loop it on his own, basically his own poor choice there to poor execution and cost him the race. But I was doesn't surprise me at all that a real veteran won that race.
No, and Harvick said in post race, he felt they'd be good because their team just comes good off the truck, and they weren't going to have a lot of time to mess around at the track. So good deal. NASCAR is really cramming a lot of things in, Adam. They're talking because it's the television deal, and they have to get so many deals, and it obviously makes sense for the economics. Teams are receiving millions and millions of dollars for X number of races. They've got to do their best to get these races in. I personally love this new racing every couple of days format. I think it's going to be huge for the sport. What's your thoughts on getting away from the Friday, Saturday, Sunday mold and getting into midweek shows? I mean, you and I have been brainstorming what the Canadian racing scene can do. You've heard me pitch it for a long time that we should be doing a live Thursday Night Thunder series here in Canada with somebody live on one of our TV networks, whether it be TSN or MAV TV, who we work with. I think there'd be a huge viewership there for something live on Thursday nights. And I'm loving the format. In fact, I can't wait till we're off the air. I wish the race was going on tonight, but apparently they're in a rain delay right now, and we'll see what happens. But I love this midweek deal. I love cramming them on off days. What are your opinions?
A lot of the reason they can do this, Clinton, is because they're using a piece of the schedule that doesn't have the teams going that far from home base. Right? I don't know if you can make this work at Las Vegas or California. Maybe you could as part of the swing. So, I mean, I enjoy it. It's just like racing. You go where the other people aren't. And right now, other mainstream sports aren't on TV. They aren't being competed live. Now's the best chance for NASCAR to put their product out there front and center while nobody else has anything to watch and enjoy. I've seen a lot of social media posts from people saying, I'd never watched a NASCAR race, but today I did.
Yeah, the other thing is, that was gonna be my next question for you. Do you think a lot of people uh found NASCAR for the first time? And then my second part of that question was, do you I think, and maybe you'll agree with me or not, I think a lot of people definitely came back to NASCAR if you weren't hadn't watched in a while or been on the fringe, you probably tuned in for sure Sunday. But do you think a lot of new people really tuned into this deal?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I just think it was huge. It was live. It was an historic day. Sure, there's things going on. I mean, we tried to get in touch with Mike Mallet on the weekend from Dirt Track Digest. He was busy watching Korean baseball.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next thing. You also said that you know uh you're not into competitive cricket, but right now to see anything live, it would get us excited and get ready to go. We do have another promoter from Ontario who has just joined us, Dave Bittner, who we've got on the show now. So we'll bring Dave in, and he's just been getting ready at Humberstone as they've been prepping and getting the track worked in with a ton of new clay and a new top coat, and working on that problem you've had in turn one, Dave, that just seems to pool up with water. I know you put a ton of work into the place, and you're getting set to go. Could be one of the first dirt tracks here to get up and running. Tell us about your practice plan and what you've got coming in the next couple of days.
Yeah, so what we did is we actually cut it off to 24 cars coming into this practice for tomorrow. But the other thing that we're doing is we just opened up a Sunday practice as well, because we had so many guys that we had to flow over into Sunday now. So, which is a really great thing. I love seeing the support, and this really helps out a track that doesn't have quite the financial backing that I would have if I owned a larger company. So this is really helping keep the lights on at Humberstone, which is wonderful. So I can't thank everyone enough. Like, track surface right now is unbelievable. The guys right now are working on the track. Well, I get to wash up a little bit because I've been dirty all day. So, but it looks phenomenal, and I can't wait to show it off to everybody.
So for people who can't be there, Dave, have you got anything planned, even to throw a webcam up and turn it on? I mean, people would just love to see race cars on a racetrack, not even competing, just out there at speed to hear it. Have you got any plans to try to deliver that somehow?
Yeah, definitely, and that's one of our things is we really want to start getting into this Facebook Live more often, and we'll end up doing a Facebook Live for our fans for sure. That is, I don't know how well it's going to go over, but I've already been up in the catbird seat on top of the speedway, and just taking a picture there from this afternoon, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. This is really high up. It was really windy up there today. So, um,
I'm
but yeah,
sure it doesn't have to be broadcast quality. Like I said, turn your cell phone or hand one to the flagman if you've got someone in the flag stand. People would just love to see and hear race cars right now.
yeah, and we got a wide variety coming too, which is the most unique part that I thought was going to not happen. So we got everything from UPM mods to full-blown sprint cars and everything in between. So pretty excited to see how this is going to work out.
Dave, let's talk about the new track surface. So as a promoter, take all the rest of the bullshit that we've had to go through in the past couple months. This is a great thing for the new clay you've laid down on this track. Instead of just having to jump in with not a lot of practice, you're going to get a chance to really work the clay in, make the adjustments where you need to move some of the material around. This is really a good thing for your track surface and the improvements you've tried to make there. Let's talk about that and what you've done in the off season to prepare for the 2020 dirt season?
Yeah, so the straightaways, we went down another 6 inches. It's pretty much the same thing that we did last year. Is we took 6 inches off the front stretch. We took another 6 inches off the front stretch and the back stretch this year. They got a little bit more banking, but what we did is we dug 2 more giant ponds, and we took all that clay that's right in our land and put it into corner 1. So we raised the bottom of corner 1 by about 9 inches. And then by the time we got to the top, we were probably another 9 inches tall. So it was an unbelievable feat of how many people it took to do that. I may meet some really great friends and lifelong friends at that, putting this together. So super happy that those guys came together and really made it work. So, and well, Jordan Hill is another guy that came in and helped reshape the track. Going into 1, it's usually like a really abrupt corner. So as you go in, the bottom's flat, but then the top literally had like a 45-degree angle on it. So he came in and smoothed that right out for us. And I am absolutely pumped to see how this is going to turn out for lap times.
Dave, what will be different for fans, or I keep saying fans, for the teams when they show up in the next couple of practices? Anything the teams need to know or prepare that they may want to try and get together after the guidelines that you have to lay out? Anything they can do or start to get ready or look for?
Well, the grounds themselves, we actually redid the whole pit area, but we're actually going to be parking out front. So we're going to be parking in the front parking lot. That way we can social distance better. Also, we have different washrooms that way, which is much easier to clean for people. So we'll have somebody that will be able to actually clean the washrooms after somebody ends up going. So the washrooms are a lot closer. Plus, if we do have, say, 24 teams and everybody does end up bringing the 4 crew and a driver, we can properly social distance on that side using the grandstands that we have there. So instead of having people walk up to the fence in the backstretch, because we wouldn't be allowed in the grandstands there because they're too tiny, we'll be able to social distance in the actual grandstands.
Right on, Dave.
Now, you said sorry,
Go ahead,
Clint, I wasn't sure if you were jumping in there. You said you're going to throw another one up Sunday. How do you think you'll go multiple times a week for the next little while, as long as there's demand from the racers to do it?
Well, we're looking at what's going to happen out of these 2. If the demand is there and we keep having those things happen, I would be, or like people wanting to do it, then I'd be more than happy to do it as well. It's not like a normal practice where it's $20 because it takes a lot more to get the track in working order right now than it would on a normal practice night. So that's kind of one thing that where the inflated costs come from. But at the exact same time, we would have sponsors normally, and also our race program. So like a normal Sunday race would help finance the practices to keep them cost effective for our drivers. So right now we don't have any of that. So that's probably where we're stuck at. Is I would love to see it become a little bit more financially viable for all the drivers to do it consistently.
All right, Dave. Thanks for joining us here today. We'll follow your story throughout the next couple of weeks, and I'm sure we'll be in touch on a few other items. So we appreciate it. And if there's
Absolutely.
anything else you want to get out, just let us know. No problem. That's Dave Bittner from Humberstone Speedway, ladies and gentlemen, getting ready to go. So, Adam, just that quickly, cars are firing up and we're getting into gear. As soon as this time tomorrow, they'll be out on the speedway wrapping up the first round of practice here. Mark Rinaldi alluded to Gord Bennett and his deal at Barney and Full Throttle, what they've got going on there. So I did ask Gord to come on. He got the message a bit late. We'll talk to Gord next week and see how his first week of racing with no fans, no payouts, and no points goes. That's been a hot topic of discussion around here. Adam, your thoughts on tracks racing with A, no fans, and B, no payout?
I think Full Throttle might have the perfect opportunity at Varney and over at Grand Bend, because some of the classes they run aren't big money classes. They're people going out to have a good time. Clint, I think we could have done that at Oshwegan Speedway with the bomber class. Even the mini stocks at this point have too much invested in their cars to want to go out and race for nothing. So it's kind of a strange dynamic, but there are places you could do it and have a lot of fun. Enduro races. You could run enduro races for not a ton of money. There's lots of things you could do to let people come out and play, and also let people have the choice to stay at home and not risk their equipment or their investments and come out and drive.
Yeah, I think you're always going to have, and feel free to chime in and comment, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching at home. You're always going to have teams that are wanting to go no matter what. And I think the big thing you're going to see is you're going to have, you're going to have all of these teams come together where they will race for nothing. You're going to have, like, you look at what we had. We had 80 Thunderstock teams and something like 70 mini stock teams in the duel on the dirt. The tracks could cobble together a field of cars out of that. I think that would come and race for nothing just for the fun of it. But we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. I think everybody's going to be happy with practice for a couple weeks with the hopes that we can get everything open. I don't want to say for real, but with fans. The point of that is where we stand at Oshwegan is, Glenn just said we do this with the fans. We built the place with the fans, so we're not going to really get up and running until we can bring the fans back. I know that's tough for a lot of drivers who just want to get out there and go, but it kind of makes sense. And I think, you know, we that's not holding us up right now because Six Nations is still isolated from the rest of the communities around it, and we're hopeful that happens. And when it happens, I mean, open up here in the next 2 to 3, possibly 4 weeks. I mean, I don't live in the community, so I can't speak to it, but I kind of, if I had to guess, I would think by the second week of June we should be back open at the latest and get everybody rolling out, and then we talk to the community and say, hey, can we do this? The great thing from the Oshwegan side is we probably have the biggest footprint in the grandstand areas on both sides of our tracks of any of the speedways around. So that really gives us a lot of room to social distance. Like Dave said, they're having to move their pit stuff to the front to give them more room. But at Oshwegan, I think no matter what we're set against, we can still make it work in social distance. So we're just riding it out. So fingers crossed, a couple more weeks, we'll have some better news as far as the Big O goes, and we can get all of our amazing fans going. With that being said, I got my Mav TV All North Racing shirt on. They are taking a whole bunch more of our broadcasts from last season, going to be airing them and getting them ready to go for re-airing. So that is a big thing for our guys. We'll be helping to fill the gap here on Mav TV with some of our former broadcasts here at Oshwegan, Adam, and that's a cool deal for us. So, quickly, your thoughts on more Oshwegan stuff going on Mav TV?
I think it's great. I think they need content. It's good for the racers at Oshwegan. I worry how the heck they're going to censor the programming because we were always getting comments, hey, tone it down a little bit, guys. Don't say that. Don't say that. And when they're not around, you and I and Greg were definitely unfiltered. So I don't know how they're going to get around all of that, but that's not my problem.
I think that's going to be great. It's a great problem to have because I think the first couple of broadcasts we went out there, we were a bit stuffy. And I think it was after the first broadcast, we said, hey, guys, like, we need to hear Greg do his thing. And he was worried because it maybe not be ready for TV. And that's why they came to us, is because you guys and, what we've got there. So it's going to be awesome to see it all come together and just to get more of the broadcast. So we did 7 live, and I think we sent them another 5 weeks of broadcasts that they're going to I was going to say refurbish or rebuff, whatever we got to do to get them ready for Mav TV prime time. So that's exciting for our race teams. Adam, you and I were part of a big deal on Sunday. TSN broadcast iRacing as part of the Victoria Day weekend in partnership with CTMP. Why don't you just talk about that? And I got to tell you, your buddy, I'm proud of what you did because at the beginning I thought, what the hell are you doing, man? You're taking all this on. What is the payback? Where's your return on investment? You got enough anxiety. Why are you doing this? But on midnight at Sunday, I was proud of you, man. You did a great job, and you dragged us all to this party, and it came out very well. So, did you talk about Sunday and the CTMP deal with TSN, and you're working with Sam Fellows and Ron and everybody up there? Just fill the fans in on what you've gone through in the past week to put that together For those who didn't see it, it aired Sunday night on TSN following the Darlington race in Sports Center, and it's probably going to come back around on the channel before long. If you haven't seen it, it'll be out there. So, Adam, your thoughts on Sunday?
Sunday was really rewarding. And as you know, the time that went into it, I missed the end of this show last week because I got a phone call that I felt I needed to take right then of things that were going on. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park had the unique potential because there's only 2 Canadian racetracks that are on iRacing, CTMP and Montreal, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. So CTMP kind of embraced that and knew that we were involved in iRacing, and I reached out to Sam Fellows and we chatted a little bit just about running races. And I mean, they had a cool race on Saturday with Cadillac race cars and all professional race car drivers, 16 or 18 of them. And then Sunday we ran our Canadian Sim Racing Series, but of course we did a special event for mostly NASCAR Pinty's. I think it was entirely NASCAR Pinty's Series drivers by the time it was said and done. We got 21 of them to come out and race, and it was a hell of a show. Alex LeBay, Daniel Morad, the Lapsevich brothers put on a phenomenal race, and it was just a way. And I kind of monitored CTMP's social media over the weekend because I was curious what people were going to say, and a lot of them did say, "Oh, this isn't the same. This just isn't what it's supposed to be." Well, no kidding. We're supposed to be at the track. But for the most part, people were really appreciative and they enjoyed the product that was put together, and they enjoyed the effort that Sam Fellows and Miles Brandt and Ron Fellows and Carlo Fidani put out in getting behind something that they could provide for their fans at a time when race fans really don't have much to get pumped up about. So can we show, obviously we can't show what was on TSN. Hopefully people were able to tune into that, but do you mind, can we show the entire highlight pack from the CSRS race? I thought it was a great race.
Yeah, it's a little bit lengthy, but for television standards, but we'll let you get away with it this time. Even Spencer tried to chop it down, but we'll go with it. And run it, Spencer. So this is the same track, a lot of the same drivers, but this is the CSRS event on Sunday night. Of course, Dave Bradley and Todd Lewis, Steve Ovens with the call.
Finish line. Several cars involved. One of the Lapsevich cars involved there, the 76.
So Caden Lapsevich monitored froze just as the race was going green. And in the top 10 of a 44-car field, it only involved about 5 or 6 cars.
In front, he will head towards corner number 8 in the S's before making his way back out into the front straight, but no real challenge right now. That will change once we get the competition caution and bunch this field back up, and then we see whatever pit stop strategy comes into play with these drivers and how it'll all shake out for the restart.
As long as I've watched Alex LeBay drive a race car in any form of race car, be it a late model, super late model, an Xfinity Series car, or the NASCAR Pinty's Series, he doesn't have a cruise control, or at least if he does, it's still very fast. So that's exactly what Alex LeBay is doing here. Now he's going to try again underneath the 96 of Olivier Bedard. This one with less enthusiasm, you could say.
This is what happens when stock car racers mix with road racers.
Into the tire wall and turn number 3, possibly contact.
And
It's
the
a
road
tough place
racers
to
are
race.
saying that should have been a penalty. The stock car racers are saying, look, you blocked 3 times. You're lucky you didn't get that on the second time.
Alex LeBay, who's gone off in corner number 10.
Oh, he stepped out to
That's a
try
big
and get
mistake
run,
by
and
one of the
maybe
best guys
got
in the
corner
business,
up
too.
to get underneath the
That's
74
rare.
of Kevin Lacroix. He touched the grass, and that was it. Into the tire wall for Alex LeBay.
Oh, what a tough break for Alex LeBay, who seemed to be trying to pressure Kevin Lacroix. He wanted to take over the spot, but wasn't able to do so. He was pushing and trying to get himself going and take over the top spot, as we'll have a look at the onboard replay now. And LeBay is trying to find his way through, but just gets crossed up as he's headed towards corner number 10. Light touch of the tires. He gets turned around and pointed in the right direction, but he's lost a bunch of positions and a bunch of track position out on course, but he'll the field will get bunched up again later on, but that is a tough break for Alex LeBay, who is pushing and trying to take over that top spot. Someone is bound to try to make the decision and maybe do 2 tires to see if it works. I think Kevin Lacroix, though, Dave, gave us the best example. That Kevin Lacroix's off again.
Oh, man.
And he's in the water. Hey, that's big.
And that was a big move, too. I mean, the replay, wait until you see the replay, Todd.
We'll have a look on the replay. And yes, Kevin Lacroix trying to find his way up the inside, touched the curb, and then it was off and into the tires. And that is a hard hit, Dave. You mentioned that is a big hit. Trayton Lapcevich in third seems to be having a peak towards the inside as they're on the front stretch. And Bedard with a big block there.
Oh, was it ever? As Lapcevich went to the wall and Bedard saw what happened, he did the same thing. So he blocks the 32 as they head through turn number 1, and look what that did to the gap they had built up on the 36 of Alex LeBay. It is gone. LeBay is there, and Gannett is in tow as well. So keep an eye on that 39 of Alex Gannett, and there's what you get.
That's right. Yeah. So you throw a big block like that. Oh, yeah, and now Bedard has been punted a number of times with traffic coming through, but you throw a big block like that, you're going to feel the heat from behind, as Olivier Bedard did.
And we're going to get a look here in just a moment, Todd, of that pass for the lead, as LeBay was able to get by Lassard, and here it is.
Oh, yes, coming around out of corner 10 onto the front stretch. They get beside each other in corner number 1, and it's a fairly easy pass for Alex LeBay, who puts his foot down, gets that power off the corner, and finds himself now in front. And can he get away from Raphael Lassard and hide the rest of the way? He's already starting to leg out a bit of a gap as they head down the backstretch. White flag is out. We'll see the challenge if Caden Lapcevich has got it for Alex Gannett or not as they continue to make their way around the course. Alex LeBay has checked out and has given plenty of room to those competitors. It is Alex Gannett feeling the heat right now from behind from Caden Lapcevich.
Clint, I love this battle for second coming down to the wire. Lapcevich
well out in front of this battle.
and Alex Gannett, a ton of respect being shown because we've watched how the truck races end here in turn 10. Watch how the battle for second wound up coming off of turn 10.
Yeah, I don't think Alex Gannett was really on our radar to be one of these top 3 guys at the end of Sunday night's event. And he did a
position, and he will win round.
Did a great job, but look at this battle. No contact here, and then coming off, this is just what stock cars do. You rub a little bit and drag race. Watch this. The replay. Like by a hair at the line. I think it was 3/1000ths of a second. But clean racing, hard racing. Not all of it was clean, but that move was clean.
The racing's been really good in the CSRS so far through the first 3 rounds. Round 4 comes up this weekend at Circuit Villeneuve in Montreal, the road course. I haven't been there yet, Adam. I'm going to pick it up tonight and hopefully get a few laps on before I head off to bed this evening. But, man, CTMP is one tough technical track, and everybody I've talked to said Circuit Villeneuve is going to be even tougher this week. What's the deal?
It's so hard. You've got to find your breaking points and remember them. Like it's a lot of racetrack to try to remember. It's technical. There's a lot of shifting. You've got to be so gentle on the throttle. I heard there might be a bonus coming for the winner of the Montreal race. Someone who watched the CTMP race said, this is so cool. I want to put up some money to the winner from Montreal, see if they'll race even harder for it.
That's awesome. 2 rounds to go. Where's the 5th round again?
Atlanta.
Oof.
And Atlanta's a gnarly oval track. It is one with a ton of fall off. It's very wide, but it's treacherous. Hopefully we'll have our act together, but time will tell.
And
then we've got fun ideas.
Yeah, we're going to do
fun
some
ideas for what's going to happen afterwards. Yeah, stuff that you've been talking about for a while. It'll be a hybrid of different ideas, but I think we've got an audience built up, right? We've put out a good broadcast with really good racers. We've got a lot of demand. We've got tons of drivers wanting to be a part of the series when we're already full. We've got quote unquote real race car drivers who are really struggling. Like I've fielded phone calls from people saying, look, I can't even come close to being competitive. This is terrible for me. But there's not much you can do about that.
I just keep telling myself, you're an announcer, not a driver. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. But it is tough, and a lot of them say it's tougher than driving for real, as you're down on a few senses you wouldn't normally have, together when you get out there. Couple things. Our Friday night excitement broadcast will continue as we're still on shutdown at Oshweekend. So this week we move on to Williams Grove, and we were worried about what USA Speedway would bring, but those long straightaways brought some great racing. I'm hoping for the same this week at Williams Grove. If you're an Oshweekend associate or Oshweekend star, practices are 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock Monday through Thursday all week long. Just look for them in the hosted sessions under the name Roger Craig, and you'll find them there. Speaking of Roger Craig, Adam, he does a fantastic job with our leagues, and he has his own league. And then we want to thank congratulate the G-Force Racing League and their Outlaw Sprint Division champions last night. And the Renegades, it was Brandon Schultz. The Rebels was Chris Steele, and JP Laporte was the Raiders champion. So congratulations once again to the G-Force Racing League Outlaw Sprint Division champions last night. The Renegades champion Brandon Schultz, the Rebels champion Chris Steele, and the Raiders champion J. Laporte. So congratulations to all those. Thank you, Roger, for everything you've done with us. We appreciate you running the Friday night stuff. I want to send a shout out to all of our sponsors who help us get this done. And remind everybody, one of our biggest supporters here funding this program here is Oshweekend Speedway Race Source. It's Canada's choice for sprint car parts, accessories, and consumables. Now that we're getting ready to go, Oshweekend Speedway Race Source can provide all the parts for your speedway needs. Whether you're driving a sprint car all the way down to a bomber, give us a call. We can get you fixed up. Located in the heart of the fastest growing sprint car market in North America at the world famous Oshweekend Speedway. Nobody has more laps, wins, and time spent at the Speedway than the experts at OSR. Let us get you into victory lane tax-free. For more information, log on to info@osrparts.com. Send a quick email, and we'll get back to you right away. That's info@osrparts.com. Well, Adam, we've got a few minutes left in the show. If anybody has anything else they want us to talk about, I'm looking at what I had. I had G-Force Racing League, MAV TV, talk about NASCAR. I think we've checked off all the boxes on the things that I meant to get to tonight.
The reality show. That was one I had. I got a comment on when it was going to come out on APTN. What was?
Okay, yeah. The documentary crew. So I know a lot of the racers got called about getting the releases signed. My understanding of it, last I heard, I went out probably the first 2 weeks of this COVID deal and did a bunch of voiceover stuff for them in Toronto. Man, it was a ghost town. It was weird, but I did have to go to studio kind of like we did last week. They were talking about May, and I'll confirm that this week and get us an announcement for Friday Night Excitement. And it's a good call. Let's get a clip. Let's get a statement and figure when we are. But I was hearing May. And man, if it could come out in May, that would be the perfect timing to get everybody excited about it. If you've not seen any of the footage yet, it is amazing. And I've told this story before. When they first came out, I was worried, were we going to include enough of our teams to make everybody care about it? But man, they do a wicked job. And when they played their sizzle reel at the year-end party at the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, the crowd went crazy at the end of it. It was an amazing deal. We also played at the banquet. So the plan is to get that out in May, I believe, on APTN. They're also trying to gear up for a second season, and it just takes a long time to get a big time documentary program like that together. And they've been working on it for over a year now. But the progress that I've seen, and it was cool. Adam, like when you go to do the TSN stuff with Joel, you get to see it all cut behind the scenes. Well, I got to see some of it, how it's all blending together, and everybody's going to be super impressed with the stories that are told and the way it comes out. Super pumped. And that is Friday Night Thunder on APTN, and that should be coming out in the next month. I'll get an exact air date as soon as we can for you. But good question. It's been great, Adam. I think everybody's starting to turn that corner. A lot of people are getting called back to work in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we can put this whole sordid affair behind us sooner than later, because it'd be great to be talking about positive stories instead of issues. We don't have a lot of news for our New York viewers. Of course, this is an Ontario-based show. We have had some stuff going on. I did read that there was a practice at Fonda on the down low, but then they were told after that nothing can really happen in New York State until further notice. So that's a bummer for our friends south of the border, but hopefully they can get that sorted out in the coming weeks. Hey, it didn't look promising for us 10 days ago, and now we got guys going on track with the government's approval just like that. So keep your head up, keep working. That's one thing about our friends in New York, Adam. we have seen a lot of these promoters, whether it be Paul Cole or Brett Deo, just a couple of the guys that we've talked to, they're working hard to get this one going. Of course, we know everybody at Dirt Motorsport certainly wants to get going. They have a lot of associations there. Lots of questions though, man. I think the first month or so is going to be kind of like you said, kind of just open race meets with not a lot of points, and just get together where you can. Because look at us, even our weekend, we will get American guys for the first couple weeks. It's everything is on the table still, right? We'll have to figure it out.
There's a lot to figure out. We got a bulletin this week from NASCAR. So GP3R in Quebec is officially, I think it's canceled. I don't think they were trying to reschedule. The Western Tour is canceled this year. The first UCASA, the first Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So that's more than a third of the schedule. So we'll see where that winds up. You just have to wait for official word to come out. Everyone's trying to get through this.
Yeah, so that begs the question: what happens with the Pinty's 100 dirt race at Oshweekend? For right now, we're sitting tight. We'll make an assessment when we can get going. Obviously, we would love to get it rolling. If there's any way we can make that happen by the time, thankfully, it's not July 1st. It's the end of August, so we got some time to see how this all shakes out, and enough time to postpone or cancel if we have to, if we're not allowed by the government or the community to bring that many people in to make it work. So we're just kind of playing it by ear. The hopes right now is to get us up and running as fast and as soon as we can at Oshweekend. So we'll see how that one goes. We also have some great sponsors that help us too, Adam. There, so working to get everything going again. Of course, our friends at Burger Barn. We'll keep you updated on everything they've got going on. And once they're fully rocking again, everybody at Jibs Action Sports, the kids need to get outside. So don't forget, log on to jibsactionsports.com. You can pick up some great stuff for the outdoors, get the kids out bouncing around. Six Nations Bingo will be great partners when we get rolling again here, and we'll help them get up and running. And of course, everybody at Brian's Farm for everything they do for us.
Well, I've got something to say about Brian's Farm.
Sure.
I went on. We want to do some work around the house. So I had a list put together, and I was checking out Lowe's, online and Home Hardware. Thought, boy, I should really check out briansfarm.com. They sell a lot of this type of stuff. Well, they sell pretty much everything I was looking for, Clinton. Some phenomenal deals. And some of it's not even, like, it's such a good deal, but for box store prices, I'm getting much better quality stuff. If you just got to look through what they've got, buy it now sales. So I got excited doing that. Check out briansfarm.com, and you might just find something that you've needed for a while. And we all have a little bit of time on our hands on weekends because we're not going to the racetrack at the moment. So do something at the house.
You know what I did today? I set my alarm to cut my grass this morning, and I had a whole lawn crew coming in today, and I spent all this time staring out the front window. Christine tells me the lawn's still there, don't worry about it. And I'm getting old, I'm getting gray. I'm gonna start hosing down my driveway every morning now too. It's just we need to get back to the track. This is time to put the insanity behind us.
Yeah, but you setting your alarm for the morning was probably 10 in the morning.
What does it matter? My alarm woke me up
It's
this
still
morning.
Oh,
Actually,
good point.
Let me just leave this with you. I was done cutting my lawn and doing my errands by almost 10 o'clock. So that's good, man.
That's
I got
amazing.
sucked
I'm
into a
so
bunch of
proud of
league
you.
races on iRacing last night, and trying to get my iRating back up because I'm in the tank on the oval side, but to no avail. We'll keep working on it.
It's tough.
Anyways, I think that wraps it up.
Fran asked about the pinball project, but I think that's probably something we should update maybe next week or the week after that when we can get some pictures and get some actual details.
Well, it's funny you asked that, Fran, because it was a school project. And just today, the Minister of Education here in Ontario announced schools will not be reopening. And Trevor Young, who was spearheading that project for pinball, who was one of the school teachers at St. Thomas More High School, did tell us the majority of the work was done. A lot of the hard stuff was already put together. And Trevor did say that if the school got canceled, that he would get the car home and they would finish it. So hopefully I have some pictures in the coming weeks. But today's the official announcement that school will not be going back in Ontario, which means the next stage for the pinball car will come into fruition. We'll follow that up for you next week. I'll put that on my list for next week for sure. But yeah, the plan is Trevor and the guys will get that home. And whatever help they need, of course, we'll have lots of hands on deck to get that going, get pinball out practicing and rolling, and we'll bring you some pictures because got to be time to wrap that thing soon, Adam.
I would think so. So don't
All right,
forget,
everybody.
lots of racing coming up. Sunday night, 9 o'clock, Canadian Sim Racing Series on GeForceTV.net. Friday night, of course, we've got Friday Night Excitement. It's going to be a good time. We go back to Volusia Speedway, the place we ran our very first Friday night program. I think it's going to be greatly improved from our initial visit.
Yeah, we also have round 2 of our Rhythm Model group of companies, 200 event for the road courses, and that will be at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. I want to thank everybody from them who got on board with us this week and help put that deal together. I know they got a hell of a race this week, and we're expecting an even cooler one this coming Sunday. So I want to thank TJ and everybody at the Rhythm Model group of companies for everything they did for us to get things rolling along. Stay tuned, folks. We'll bring you all the information. If there's something going to be streamed, GeForce will be in the talks, and we'll do our best to get it to you any way we can. Don't forget, Adam's. Actually, I should give a shout out to Roger. They've got a bunch of. Let me just look it up here. GeForce Racing League action is going on this week. I believe it is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday evenings. So tomorrow and Thursday, you can catch some more racing on GeForce TV. Of course, on Facebook, Adam has his Mindwell session coming this Thursday at 7 p.m. like we do every week, and the viewership's been great on that. So if you're suffering from anxiety or just need a feel-good story, come on out and join us for Adam's show, and then we'll be live Friday Night Excitement once again at Friday night at 7:30, and hopefully we'll be back at you shortly with some more great live racing action before you know it. Adam, anything you want to say before we drop the hammer here and shut her down tonight?
Nope. See you next Tuesday, Clint.
All right, thanks, buddy. Spencer, thanks for everything you do. Thanks to our great sponsors. Thanks to our great racing family who watch us and hang out with us every Tuesday and all our other shows. We appreciate your support. Stay safe, and we'll see you here soon.